Sweet, 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 sweet. Screenagers. We're back. We're so back again. More Spooktober celebrations here at the Canon. We got another essential movie lined up. My name is Raph. I'll be hosting us today, and I'm joined by two of Scream Age Wasteland's favorite contributing writers. You love them. You know them. Romona, Bob. How are you guys doing?
Good.
Great.
Got my pumpkin mug for the
I've got my
Spooky
pumpkin cider for it too.
Oh,
Yeah.
Nice. I got
Yeah.
water.
Water. You're
Pumpkin
too young
water.
to drink anyway. It's fine.
That's what they tell me.
Yeah.
I did have a pumpkin spice latte today.
There you
So
Had my
there's that.
first one on Saturday. It was delicious.
They're the best.
I made fun of them for years. I made fun of people who drank them for years. And then I had one. I was like, damn it. So good. Very
They're
good.
pretty great.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I already mentioned it, but we're going to be talking Poltergeist today, which should be a very fun conversation. We're in the thick of it. It is like, it's fully spooky season, middle of October. We're there. We are fully in it. This feels like a perfect movie to be talking about while we are fully in it. Bob, we've had you on the last couple of weeks, so we kind of have a sense of how your October is going so far, but we will need updates. But Romona, I think this is the first episode that you've been on this season.
Yeah.
How the hell is your Halloween season going?
Slowly. I actually just put up some of my Halloween decorations today. They've been sitting in a bin behind my couch since like the last week in September. My daughter is like, are you going to decorate? Are you going to decorate? Are you going to decorate? Yes. It's just been very busy, but been watching a lot of horror movies with my daughter by myself and with my sisters. That was a lot of fun. So I'm trying to get into the spirit of things before it's over, because once it's over, it's Christmas all the way to the end. So I know.
Bob and I have thoughts, and others who have joined the show. I think a lot of us are in agreement that spooky season should last until like mid-November.
Yeah.
At least. I still think like week before Thanksgiving, we can still be watching and should be watching spooky movies. You know, we should still be in that sort of zone, because there aren't that many good Christmas movies, and there are so many good horror movies, and there are some that feel like a more November vibes based than October vibes based.
Yeah, I can see
Get
that.
Out, chief among them.
Mm-hmm.
That's a spooky movie, but it feels more like it's leaning Thanksgiving than it is leaning Halloween. So there are other movies that are like in that realm that I think we can, watch in the weeks after Halloween, leading up to Thanksgiving, before we fully switch over to Christmas season. Because like winter doesn't even start until a few days before Christmas. So why do we need winter vibes?
Well, that depends on
the
where
1st of November.
That depends on where you live, I think.
Yeah.
Well, if we're talking just like equinox, right? Like the winter solstice,
if
or
you
whatever.
Want to go by like
called
the technicality of winter, that's fine. But in Ohio, it could snow tomorrow. So I just go with the weather. Right. I do like holding on to spooky season for a little longer than most, I think. But I usually start in like September, getting into the scary movies, which I do watch all year long. But I had Horror Hound convention last month we went to, and then we have Halloween and all that stuff come up here, and I don't know. It's just I feel weird watching any other kind of movie other than something spooky. So I just keep it going until husband gets annoyed with me and we have to watch Christmas movies. So he's not a big Halloween person. So I'm on my own.
Christmas movies you only need like the week before Christmas, but we don't even have to get into that.
That's a whole different conversation.
It's a conversation for another
episode.
Bob,
and I know I've asked this question before, but Nightmare Before Christmas, Halloween movie, Christmas movie,
November movie. Split the difference.
Yeah,
Boom.
I would argue I have always argued that it's a Christmas movie because technically it takes place at Christmas because that's when he's
Right.
being. However, I've come to the conclusion after several years of maturing that you can watch it for either one. I watched it for Halloween last year. We watched it as one of our Halloween movies, and
Nice.
it holds up. I love that movie so much. You can watch it really anytime, and
Yeah.
it works.
Agreed.
Yeah,
Agreed.
yeah. I just feel
Just
bad.
sorry.
Thanksgiving gets nothing. Like Thanksgiving's just screw it. There's really nothing to watch for Thanksgiving. That's
There are
scary.
some movies. There are, well, again, a discussion for another.
Yeah. Another.
Next month.
We'll table that.
Yeah.
Bob, have things been getting spookier in your neck of the woods?
Yeah, finally. I mean, we had at the beginning of last week, it was like 80 here in Maine, which is ridiculous to have in October. And this morning it was like 40. So, but I
Nice.
finally took out my AC this weekend, and that's like unheard of for it to be this late taking out the AC. So finally feels like it. The leaves are coming down. People are finally
Mhm.
getting into the spirit and putting up decorations like us. We did it this
Yeah.
weekend. So
Yeah.
yeah,
It's been really
Amazing.
horribly hot up until like the last week. I hate
yeah,
it.
yeah.
I hate it so much.
The other day I went for a morning walk and it was like 52. And I was like, oh my God, this is
Perfection.
perfect. This is amazing.
There
This
we
is
go.
so good.
It's
Yeah.
really hard just to get in the Halloween mood when you're sweating and you're wearing
Yeah.
shorts and it's
Yeah, let me throw on a
85 degrees
hoodie,
outside.
throw on a nice sweater, a nice
Yeah.
quarter zip or something, maybe a
Yeah.
flannel.
Hmm.
Yeah. I'm not sweating when I'm walking with my coffee. There are a couple of leaves that the wind is blowing on the ground. Ooh, so good.
Perfection. I love
So
it.
good.
Favorite
And
time
then
of
you
the
throw
year.
on Poltergeist
Mm.
and you have yourself a day.
Hmm.
So let's get into this flick, shall we? What do you guys say?
All right,
Yes.
let's do it.
So we were talking before we started recording. Bob, you watched this today. Ramona, you watched this over the weekend
Hmm.
with your oldest daughter?
No, my oldest daughter's 15. She and her sister
Okay.
are 12. They're fraternal twins. So, but she's the only one who has any interest in movies. So she's
Okay.
my
So one of the
now.
twins
Yes.
is the only one who has interest in any movies or just in
And the
spooky
other,
movies?
Lily she's a homebody. She likes to be in her room with her tablet. She's at that age where she just doesn't want to be bothered. But Evelyn is very opposite and outgoing and likes to do stuff and go places and watch things. And she loves horror movies. So I won't say she's my favorite, but
Not in public anyway.
no. No. And then Grace, she's like Lily. She likes to be. She's teenager. So she's comes out for
Right.
food and disappears again. So yeah.
Too cool to watch a spooky movie with mom.
Yep.
But how was the viewing experience with your daughter? I assume it was her first time watching, and I feel like 12 is like the perfect time
Yeah.
to watch this movie for the first time.
And I started watching horror much younger because my parents just didn't care at that point what was on the television when I was in the room. So, so I saw this movie when I was probably too young, but I loved it. But she told me she had a lot of questions, which this is a very Poltergeist is a very talky movie. I guess I don't want to say it's too much, but like there's a lot of discussion going on, you know. And so I had to keep pausing it to like answer her questions and be like, just watch and you'll find out and blah, blah, blah. And then after she seemed to enjoy it, and I asked her, I was like, what'd you think of Poltergeist? She's like, it was all right. She's like, it wasn't really my tempo, whatever that means. I don't know. So she's like, she said she liked it when she likes movies that have more tension. And I'm not entirely sure what that means because in my eyes, maybe the first half hour is building things, but then once Carol Ann is missing, it's just like something always happening. So I don't know. Maybe it was just a little too talky for her. They had too many discussions about death and so as an adult, I really enjoyed those parts a lot more than I did as a kid. I get it.
I can see. I think I can see it in the sense that there's no immediate threat to the majority of the cast members for
Correct.
most of the film, and
Yeah.
it's there's a little girl lost, and maybe
Hmm.
things are a little spooky, but there's no like monsters or bad guys or anything that's like immediately threatening until the medium shows up and stuff
Yeah.
starts
Who's
getting
my
real.
favorite, by the way? I'm sure we'll get to
Yeah.
that, but she's my favorite part of that entire movie. But I mean, there are like, the camera guy, Marty, the one who gets
Yeah.
the steak and get a bite taken out of him up in the room. Like, he had it going. Like, he had a bad deal in that house. But the rest
Yeah.
of them, you're right. They didn't really have, other than having some stuff thrown from the ceiling and some screaming and everything, there was really nothing too threatening towards them. That's a good point. I've never realized that. It's like, oh my God, you're right.
But it's still spooky as hell to me. I
It
mean,
is. I
yeah.
agree. Yeah.
It is still spooky as hell.
Yeah.
There's some weird stuff going on. It's almost, I guess, kind of a friendly ghost story. Not quite Casper, but
Yeah.
slightly more friendly than what we're used to. So, okay, so Ramona, that was your most recent viewing
Mhm.
experience. When did both of you guys first come across this movie?
Very
When
young.
and how?
Yeah, very young.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that I saw this in the theater.
Hmm.
Um, I think I may have, just because we did have a theater in our hometown when this came out, and I know it was PG, which we were allowed to go see.
Hmm.
Not that my parents cared, not unlike yours, Ramona, because they dropped us off to go see Cujo when we were all far too young to go see Cujo.
Yeah.
Uh,
Wait,
luckily,
sorry, Bob. Before you keep going,
yeah,
was this one when PG was there was no PG-13? This is
that
pre
is correct. Yeah,
Temple of
Yeah.
Doom. Okay,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
yep,
Sorry,
yeah.
keep going.
So yeah, exactly, exactly. But I thought Cujo was R, but it doesn't really matter. We didn't end up seeing Cujo because it had left the week before, and it was Krull.
Oh.
So which was more appropriate for all of our ages at that
Hmm.
at that time. But it was very, very. If I didn't see it in the theater, then we saw it on HBO probably, and just loved it immediately. It was the perfect sort of almost Stephen Kingy
Yes.
movie.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was very, very young in my viewing experience.
Hmm.
And immediately loved it.
Yeah.
Oh hell yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, you take the guy who directed the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and you give him Steven Spielberg as his mentor and money man, and you end up with just a fantastic
Yeah.
conglomeration of horror and budget.
Yeah. And it's accessible to more than just horror fans too. I mean, it's almost like a drama, like a family drama in a way too,
Yeah.
because like you said, no one's really threatened other than the little girl, and then at the end, um, which it really hits the fan. But there's just a lot of that family dynamic going on in the whole movie too, which as a kid, I didn't care about. I just wanted to see all the scary stuff. But as an adult, I appreciated that part a lot more. Maybe because I'm a parent, I don't know. But it's just like, yeah, I'd go into some closet and go through goop and get my kid back. Of course, it's like you see
Yeah.
that now. Yeah, so it hits a little different. But I do remember I did see it on VHS because my parents had rented it on VHS, or they bought it on VHS. Unless it was HBO. I don't know, but I do remember seeing it. And I had seen Carrie and Jaws and The Exorcist by then. So,
Oh, so this was nothing.
no, no. But this was great for me because, like, it was PG. There's really not a whole lot. There's only one part that I ever closed my eyes. And I actually never, maybe 2 years ago, I finally watched the scene where I always closed my eyes as a kid. And I still did as an adult. And then I finally watched
Wait, can
it.
we guess?
You want to guess?
Yeah, Bob, you go first.
No, you want me to
Part I
guess
closed my-
first?
Yeah.
I have two
It was
scenes
about
that it could
2
be.
years ago. I actually watched it without closing my eyes.
It's either the bathroom scene or the clown.
I would have thought the bathroom scene as well. It was the only part that I was like, when I first saw it, I was like, okay, this should not be in this rated movie.
Yeah, there's the bathroom scene. Did not watch it. As soon as that steak went nasty, I was under blankets. I was closing my eyes. I was doing this because I could hear it still. And I was like, nope. It was about 2 years ago when I watched this movie again around Halloween. I finally was like, just watch it and see. And you watch it, and the effects are still pretty good. But as an adult, I was like, oh, this isn't that bad. Like, was I really that scared? But yeah, as a kid, every time, nope, not watching it.
Yeah.
Did not
and
know
that's
what
one
it
of
looked
those,
like. Yeah.
That's one of those scenes they had to cut down quite a bit to get the
Did
rating
they?
to. Oh yeah, it was like 3 minutes long.
Oh my God.
Originally. Now, yeah, it's not.
That would have changed everything.
Yeah.
No way.
No, that's a different movie. The steak actually squeaked me out more when I was a kid.
The steak and the chicken, when he spits out the chicken and it's maggots everywhere, and it's just like, oh my God.
Yeah, exactly.
Then, oh, God. Yep. Yeah. Nope. I can't do it.
Okay. On the topic of like how scary this movie is, if you're someone who hasn't seen it, you probably hear Poltergeist like one of the greatest horror movies of all time. But if you wait until you're an adult to see it, when you first watch it, you know, especially if you've seen if you've seen Carrie, and if you've seen Jaws, and if you've seen The Exorcist, and if you've seen things that have come out since, if you've seen like Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street, and if you've seen even like Scream and things in the 2000s, like Saw and all that other stuff, you watch this and you're like, oh, it's not all that scary, even though it's directed by the same dude who directed the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. But then you dig a little bit deeper and you're like, okay, written and produced by Steven Spielberg, and this feels like Steven Spielberg doing his version of a horror flick.
Yeah.
But so the question then becomes, and the debate has been, you know, people have been having it for years. We're not the first people to be posing this question at all. But how much of this movie do you think is Spielberg? How much do you think is Hooper? Do you think, how does that play into how spooky it is, how terrifying it actually is, which parts are terrifying, what about it is terrifying, all that stuff? Bob, give us your thoughts first. What do you think about that?
I mean, I think at this late date, we're never gonna know for sure who did what, but for me, it's come down to in the years since that all of the actors and the people that were on set, everybody except Zelda Rubinstein actually, say that Hooper was the director. He was on set. He was setting up shots. He was doing all the pre-production work, and that Steven Spielberg was a constant presence. And as somebody with far more experience and clout, he was deferred to a lot. But that for them, Hooper was their director. The post-production and technical people seem to feel the other way, that it was Spielberg who called the shots, especially like in the editing room and for the music and that sort of thing. So I guess it depends on what you think of as a director. And for me, that's the person managing what's in front of the camera at the moment that the cameras are running. And so that's Hooper for me. And I can see both of their signatures in the film. There are definitely things, you know, the Freelings live in the same town on a different level as the same family that lives in Close Encounters of the Third Kind. You know, it's the same universe.
Yeah.
But at the same time, Steven Spielberg is not going to make subtle satirical commentary about how TV is insinuating itself into the American fabric of life in a way that's so terrible it could destroy you. That's Hooper's deal, you know? So yeah, I say Hooper's the director, but Spielberg is a hands-on writer and producer.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I'm not going to add anything to that. I think that's because you can actually see their influences in the film, both of them. So I can see it. it's weird because for a long time I always thought Steven Spielberg did direct it. Like when anyone would say Poltergeist, I'm like, oh yeah, Steven Spielberg. No. And I felt really bad. And actually, I think it was my sister who was like, oh, it's Toby Hooper. I was like, I don't know who that is. Like Texas Chainsaw, which I've never seen Texas Chainsaw because
Right.
I've always thought it was like, I'm just not a big, like, I love slasher films, but I'm not a big, like, gory slasher film. And my sister loves this movie. She's like, there's maybe one scene where there's anything like, it's like Halloween.
Yeah.
There's maybe one scene where you see something nasty happen. She's like, but it's all like imagined and it's all cutaways and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So I might watch it eventually. But yeah, once I was a little bit more educated on on this film, I seemed to enjoy it. I was like, okay, well, you can see, both of their influences in it. And once I realized it was Toby Hooper and I got to know who Toby Hooper was as a director more, it's like, I get it now. I see it. But yeah, I would agree with Bob that whoever is behind the camera setting it up and taking the shot and giving direction to me would be the director. Because how many times do you hear about post-production? They screwed my movie. They ruined my movie that I shot. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
it's I would say pre-production and during production, that's who the movie belongs to, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, it's such an interesting question because it feels so Spielbergian,
It
you know?
It
does.
really
It really
does.
It's
does. Yeah.
when you think about like Amblin movies, right?
Mhm.
So like E.T.,
Yep.
The Goonies, which also wasn't directed by Spielberg,
Correct.
uh Indiana Jones, Gremlins, even this like
Right.
Reagan era suburbia
Yeah.
kind of movie. But Bob, like you were saying, where this movie differs is that this movie is like kind of a lot more critical of that view of suburbia than those other
Yeah.
movies. Like
Right.
Mhm.
The Goonies has like nothing bad to say about suburbia at all.
You
Where
can find
Poltergeist is
treasure and
like,
save your neighborhood.
yeah,
It's real life,
yeah,
okay?
it's
Can
just it's
happen.
so much fun. The like when Stranger Things is doing 80s nostalgia for kids riding bikes around town, they're
Love it.
doing that for ET. They're not doing that for Poltergeist. And
Mhm.
like as much as this movie like feels and presents itself like a Steven Spielberg production or even a Steven Spielberg directed movie, Toby Hooper is super critical of like what it is that's going on in American life
Yeah.
in this movie. The TV being the source of the scares for this. What did you guys make of that?
I had to explain to my 12-year-old why the TV went static at a certain point at night. Why are they playing the national anthem? I was like, that's just how it was back then. I said there wasn't streaming, there wasn't 24-hour news, there wasn't, constant broadcasting of television shows. I was like, it hit a certain time at night and it was done until the next morning. Like that's just,
Yeah.
when she has to see the telephones. We're actually watching Stranger Things together, season 1, and they have the rotary phone and the
Yeah.
TV, the old TVs, and you had mentioned, Ref, you mentioned Stranger Things. It's not showing that part of like suburbia, but I also rewatching the first season, I noticed some kind of, and maybe it's just me because I'm such a fan of it, some little homages to Poltergeist in that she's communicating with her son through lights.
Mhm.
He's there and she's the crazy mom who's trying to get a hold of him, and she's got the
Yeah.
Christmas lights that she's talking to him through. So I
Definitely.
see a little bit of it, but in terms of like the TV being, a bigger point that he's trying to make about what television is doing to children or to America, whatever. As a kid, I never thought of it that way. I'm like, oh, this is creepy. Ooh, it's spooky. I love it. And like now I see it because you see it in tablets and computers and smartphones. So why don't we do a modernized Poltergeist and have a kid get sucked into their phone and we'll see what happens.
Yes,
But
that's
Yeah,
a
that's
it's
the
a good catalyst for them to she's gone. You don't know where she is. She's somewhere in the house. But then to be able to communicate with her with that spooky, the sound of her voice kind of almost like in the distance and echoey. I really think that adds to the overall atmosphere being really scary. I'd rather them do that than you hear her voice like somewhere in the house, but you can't find her. Because to me, I'm just like, yeah, but the TV, knowing she's in there, seeing some of the was the hand comes out of the TV the first time she goes down there to talk to
Right.
him. Oh my god, that was a jump scare I forgot about. And me and my daughter both jumped in on the couch. We're like, oh shit. I said that. She didn't say that. Yeah, it still holds up really well in terms of like the scares. So I that was a good choice, and I can see about it. I see the point he's trying to make with it. But if you're just going in hoping for a spooky movie, you're probably not thinking too hard about what does this say about our country and where we're
Right. Yeah.
going
Yeah.
in terms of television
Yeah.
consumption, So I don't know.
No, and that's why Hooper is such a good director too, is he doesn't
Hmm.
hit you over the head with the
The
morality.
obvious.
You know
Yeah.
what he makes it subtext. It's not,
Yeah. In your face.
overtext. It's he's the one that has the family shove the TV out of the
I still
hotel
love that.
room door at the end and close the
That's
door.
such a great
So
closing
I'm
shot. So
gonna
good.
make it overt just in this last
Yeah.
scene here.
Like
Yeah.
just remember. Yeah. Yeah. That was so good.
Bob, did you have anything else about the TVs being the source of scares, or like the main catalyst for
Mm.
how it is that the ghosts end up haunting the Freeling family?
No, I think we've talked about it already. It's just basically that whole TV is the seduction of the innocent sort of
Yep.
thing. Literally draws Carol Ann in, and I love the
Mhm.
line. One of the just a throwaway line, but for some reason I loved it. Where they're like working on the TV to try and talk to her when the professor and the parapsychologist come in, and like we don't know why, but she usually comes in better on this channel.
This channel,
And I
yeah.
was like,
I remember that, yeah.
it was like, yeah,
Trying to change that. Yeah.
yep,
That's so
And
funny.
they do there is like a small part that kind of touches on that when she is in the kitchen. I guess when the guys are outside working on the pool. And Carol Ann turns the channel in the kitchen to the static. And she
yes,
sits there and she's watching it. And the mom comes back
yes,
and she's like, don't, that's gonna hurt your eyes or hurt, it's gonna fry your mind, whatever she says. And she turns it to like a violent war movie.
yes,
And I'm like, that's exactly how
yes,
it is, especially like with movies. So many parents are like, don't watch that. That'll rot your brain. And it's like sex or something. And then they turn it to something super violent. And I'm
yeah,
like, there, watch that, So it's just,
yep,
I noticed that part. I mean, I've always noticed that, but that part really stuck out to me watching it again was her, oh,
yeah,
that'll hurt your eyes. Watch this instead. And she just flips it to violence. And it's just,
yeah.
oh my God.
That's a great. I'm glad you brought that up because that's
Yeah.
another one of those, obviously, and a great Wilhelm scream on that
I
particular.
heard that. Yeah, I
Yeah,
thought that
Yeah.
too. I wasn't about to try and explain that to her, but I was like, there's that scream that you hear in
yeah.
everything. Yeah, well, I'll scream. Yep. Is this the
Yeah.
first time you've seen this, Ref?
No, so I've talked about it before, but I used to be very easily scared by horror flicks and kind of still am, but for some reason in college I decided to, as part of like my film major, I decided to take a horror movie class where we
Nice.
watched a bunch of horror movies and like fit them into like the context of the genre or whatever. And Poltergeist was one of the movies. And before we watched it, there were a couple of movies where before we watched them, I went to the professor and I was like, "Hey, just so you know, I scare super easily. How scary is this movie? Like, I want to come to the screening, but like they're late, and then I have to walk home. Am I going to be scared? Am I going to be freaked out?" And he was like, "Dude, don't worry. This movie isn't even like a little bit scary." Because at that point, all I had known was they're here,
Yeah,
which is
Right.
like pretty
iconic.
creepy,
Yeah,
little white girls kind of scare
watching
the
it.
shit out of me.
Yeah.
And most people, understandably, I think they're often used in these movies to freak us the fuck out. So that was the only thing I had known. And then I watched the movie and I was like, oh, this is super cool. And like a really fun movie, and is saying a lot of things about American society at the time and fits into like an interesting place within sort of like the history of the genre and also just like American movies and like
Yeah.
Hollywood filmmaking. So this was the second time that I had watched it on this go
Mhm.
around. And Ramona, I had the same thought. I was watching and I was thinking about TVs and I was like, the updated version of this would just be like smartphones. Like
Smartphones.
that's
Yeah.
the easiest. It's the easiest remake ever.
Yeah.
I know there was a remake a couple of years ago that
I,
was apparently pretty bad.
I didn't watch it. I love Sam Rockwell, but I can't bring myself to
Yeah.
watch the remake. It was unnecessary. So unnecessary. So
I agree.
Bob, did you see it?
I did not. Yeah, for the same reasons.
No,
I was
okay.
like, maybe I'll go watch this. But at the time that it had come out, there had been a number of like 1980s
Yeah.
horror movie remakes that I
Mhm.
had not enjoyed, like Nightmare on Elm Street and
Mhm.
the vampire
Did
one
they
that's
do
escaping
a
me.
House of Wax?
Fright Night.
And,
Fright Night.
oh, maybe House of Wax was
Mhm.
like way back in the 2000s.
Yeah, early aughts, they did like a bunch of 1950s, 60s remakes, which are terrible, but I kind of have like a enjoyment.
Guilty
like,
pleasure.
Yeah. Yep. 13 Ghosts. I love 13 Ghosts, and that's a terrible movie.
I almost watched that today, and I ended up watching Jeepers Creepers instead. Never seen that one either.
So like with the remake part of it, I think that kind of goes to a lot of the subtext that's within this movie, right? Like this movie, part of the reason that this movie works is because it's about a very particular like point in time in American history. So like even if you go and you watch it and you're like, oh, this is a really cool movie about a family that's being haunted by ghosts or whatever, and like there's cool special effects and all that stuff, but subconsciously you're kind of like reading into everything that it's taking. So then if you update that in 2015 when there's really no like context for a movie like that to exist, that's probably why it doesn't hit. If you do
Yeah.
it in 2025 where you could just make it about smartphones and like
Right.
just have that be the subtext, then it will probably hit in a way that it didn't
Yeah.
10 years
Yeah.
ago when that Sam Rockwell version was made, which I
Yeah.
think is part of the reason why this original version hit the way that it did. So kind of with that, before we get into more of the fun stuff, I'm going to ask some more of these like annoying questions about the historical
annoying.
context this movie exists within. But there is also something kind of interesting that Hooper is saying about like baby boomers, in particular the scene where we're not first introduced to the parents, but like after everyone's going to bed, and she's smoking weed and he's reading a biography about Reagan.
Ronald
Yeah.
And it's
Reagan.
like, oh, this is the transition from
Yeah.
the like hippie phase of boomers in the 70s into
80s.
what will be the like Wall Street yuppie version
Yeah.
of the same demo in the 80s, and it's just like all there in
Yeah.
one shot, which
Yeah.
is pretty amazing. Also, I guess
They're
with that,
young too. I didn't realize how young they were as parents until he said that the mom was 32 and his daughter's
Yeah.
16.
that freaked me out.
And I was like, wait,
Yeah. Hold
I'm
on.
like doing the math in my
I-
head.
Yeah.
That was the only time I had to hit the rewind button
Yeah.
during this rewatch.
First he said 31. He's like, oh, I mean 32. And I was like, wait, like, hold on. And that was
And your daughter's
16.
16.
So yeah. So
I get the
was
6 and 5-year-old, but the 16-year-old, what's going on over
60s
there?
were wild, man. They were wild.
Woodstock.
But that's another Hooper scene. Have you seen anybody smoke marijuana in a Spielberg movie?
No. Well, I guess not. I don't know.
No.
I mean,
I'm gonna Google this later.
yeah. But it's like that happens all the time in Hooper's films.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
he'd made 3 of them up until that point, and it was like, I think somebody's using drugs in every single one of them. So
Yeah, I mean, I thought that was interesting. And then also, like, when you think about, I'm forgetting her name, but the mom's like character arc where she is like maturing like fairly rapidly
Oh yeah.
over
Right,
the course of the movie.
Yeah.
Which again is like kind of weird to have a statement about like boomers in the 80s this early in the decade, but it really does hit in terms of like how it is that we think about that generation like through
Yeah.
the decades. But yeah, what did you guys think of the mom's sort of like character arc, regardless of whatever subtext about historical context is or is not there.
Yeah, I mean, and you can see it too, and not only how she dresses at the beginning of the movie to the end of the movie, where she's in like she's got like the tight t-shirt at the beginning and the shorts, the cute shorts, and her hair is low, whatever, and then at the end she's wearing like the mom pants up to her belly button with the belt and the covering up and everything, and her hair is the gray, which I get. You know, my daughter asked, "Why is her hair gray?" I was like, "Well, she just went through something very traumatic. She was in another place." So I was like, you know, I didn't want to explain like X-Men with Rogue. Didn't want to get into all that. So like, just it's, you know, she's gonna get rid of it. But yeah, I never really gave a whole lot of like deeper thought into her arc, but she was really for me like the hero of the movie. Um, she was the only, because if you look at after Carol Ann goes missing, and then it shows what's the dad's name? I can't remember. Craig T. Nelson. You know, he's meeting with the
His name is Steve.
Steve and Diane.
Pretty messed up that I Diane.
Steve. Yeah, he's talking to the parapsychologist, and it like
The
kind
most
of
boomer
like
names ever.
yeah, yeah, Steve
not
Diane.
wrong.
But you see them like it kind of focuses on them before it like zooms around to him, and he's smoking. He looks terrible. He looks awful. Like he's got the bags under his eyes. Like he's pale. But then you see Diane. She's still like prettied up, and her hair is done when she's talking to them in the house, and she's got like the. So she really kind of like kept her shit together through that whole movie. So watching it now, of course, and I'm a mom, so I'm biased, but I was like, she was the hero of this movie through the whole thing. Like she kept everybody focused, everybody together. While the dad was kind of flailing a lot, she kind of just gung ho and made decisions. But yeah, she had a really interesting arc. You saying that she matured from the beginning to the end, like now I'm thinking about it, I was like, you see it in her progress, not only like in how her behavior, but even the way that they dressed her was very like, I think it was very Jesus Christ, what's the word I'm looking for? Sorry, I didn't mean to say Jesus Christ.
Deliberate,
it was purposeful, very intentional. Yes, purposeful.
Yeah.
Yes. God, it is late and I'm drinking, so I'm sorry, but yeah. So yeah, that's it. Yeah, what did you think, Bob? Because did you ever see that before?
Yeah, and for me, there's a lot of things going on. This was, of course, a time when the baby boomers were starting. They were hitting their 30s. They even there was a show called 30 something that was about around the same time, as they were all struggling with the generation that first said never trust anybody over 30 was suddenly over 30. Yeah. And they had to, and they were still the most populous generation, the most influential, the most politically and economically powerful generation. So everything was about them in the 80s. For it felt like that anyway.
Yeah.
And so you got a lot of that in every film, this one in particular. But one of the things that I liked about Diane's arc is not she goes from being a fairly kind of flighty, cool mom.
Yeah.
And I love that she's so excited about the paranormal when it first happens. You know, she's like, "This is so cool," and Steve's like,
mm-hmm.
You know, it's just sort of what's going on here.
Behaving the way you should behave when you see
right,
that.
and she's like, I tried acid for the first time, and it's awesome.
Right.
But at the end, and this is, and I got to stop harping on the things that are Hooper, things that are Spielberg. Spielberg got his ending when they pulled Carrie Ann out of wherever she was, and this house is clean, and so Hooper's like, you know what? No, it's not. And and then they have the typical nuclear family thing. The dad has to go off to work and do some stuff, and she stays at home and has to deal with the real shit that goes down. And she goes through it. You know, she's assaulted, tossed around the room, goes outside, falls into the freaking pool, has to deal with skeletons, real skeletons, by the way. Spoiler. And fights her way back into the house and to the kids and saves the kids herself. She's the hero of the thing. And he comes back just going like, why are the lights going crazy in my house? So like... she goes from a fairly flighty
Yeah.
woman to the hero of the piece at the end. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay, so one last annoying question before we get into more of the fun stuff.
Mhm.
Um, so all of the spooks happen in this movie through the TV, but they happen because of the work that the dad does, which I feel like some subtext or, you know, text about from Hooper about like the ills of, again, American society leading up to, to that time. Like
Man.
it is the dad's work of selling this cursed real estate to people, in part causes the haunting that the family experiences. What do
Yeah.
you guys think of that whole subplot and like the great line? What does he say? He's like you move the headstones, but you
You
didn't
didn't
move the
move the
bodies. You son of a
bodies.
bitch, you didn't move the bodies.
Yeah.
What?
Yep. And I love the line that his boss says earlier on. It's not like it's a Indian burial ground,
Right.
It's
you
just
know.
people.
It's just people. They can
Like,
drive
Yeah.
5 minutes down the road, and yeah, that was I was caught on to that part more than like the what television is doing to America. I always caught on to the we're gonna cut corners. You know, who
Mhm.
cares if it's sacrilege? Who cares if it's just disrupting someone's final resting place? This is beautiful land. We want it. We want to build on it, and we want to sell houses. So we're just gonna ship off the headstones and call it a day. To me, that's very American. So I was
yeah.
like, I always really picked up on that.
USA
So
baby.
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah.
America. So it
Go
was
capitalism.
right. So it's always, and that's always the joke too. Is now it's anything weird happening in your house. Is like, is your house built on a burial ending room? Which it doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
There just has to be a body under there. It's gonna happen to me.
This
So
movie is kind of progressive in that sense,
yeah,
in that, it's not just the ghost of dead Native Americans that can haunt us.
yeah. It's just people.
White Americans can haunt us too
They
if
Yeah.
do.
our houses are built over their burial ground. So
And they weren't all like you said earlier. It was like a friendly ghost almost. Like they weren't there to. They wanted to be led to the next plane, like, and what Tangina was explaining, and the parapsychologist, I don't remember her name in it, Beatrice Straight, I think, but but they also had to add in, well, there is
Yeah.
another presence here, or it's the beast, it's the evil one that's trying to keep her, and he's a child to her, blah blah blah, which to me is terrifying, but just hearing about it. But that was to me really interesting, was like it wasn't just one entity in that house doing that stuff. It was a whole bunch of them, and it really wasn't that, like you said, that threatening until um I think the darker entity got involved. But like the chairs, that was kind of creepy in the kitchen, that was creepy, but it wasn't threatening. But then once the other one got involved, it got a lot scarier. So I liked how they explained that, that it could it was, there's a difference between a poltergeist and like a spirit, like a ghost. So and when you see them coming down the stairs on the camera, and they all have like you can see their hats and their faces,
Yeah.
and yeah, that was also very creepy to me. But it was like, well, they're not, they just want to like move on, but this other one isn't letting them. So I like that they it was different than other haunted house movies that I had seen at the time, where it wasn't just one bad ghost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is kind of tangential, but goes off of that. In the history of haunted house movies, especially ones that include parapsychologists like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think of the peak of this being The Haunting,
Oh yeah.
which is Robert Wise did a fantastic job, but everything's subtle and suggestive, and you never know,
Mm-hmm.
is what's happening a supernatural entity, or is it something, is it a psychic thing, or is it just in everybody's head?
Right.
Then you've got the more kind of grand guignol, I don't know how to pronounce that, glories of the horror of Hell House,
Yeah.
which ranks everything up a notch. There's more overt violence and stuff, but you don't really see too
Yeah.
much of anything going on.
Yeah.
And then you come to this movie, and it's like the psychologist, is talking about how he recorded a toy car moving
Yeah.
like
You're like,
3 feet
okay.
over the course of 6 hours or
Yeah.
whatever. And then they open the door and it's freaking Evil Dead 2 in there with everything, just
Just the look that
whipping
Steven
around. And I
gives
was
him.
like,
He's like, okay, this
yeah,
unlocked this door.
like we're going to take that and we're just going to ramp everything up to 11 on this one. So
That's one of my favorite lines in the delivery is the day after when the steak happens and all that, and it's the day after, and she's like, Marty will not be back.
yeah.
I don't know why that made me laugh every time. I'm like, no shit, he's not coming back. I wouldn't be coming back either if someone took a bite out of me and then made it look
Yeah.
my face is falling off. I would have been out of there that night, to be honest with you. But yeah.
That's the first crew, right? That's the crew from the university.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then
Yeah. And then Tangina is the
Tangina. What do we think of her? She's
I love
amazing.
her. So fun. She's honestly
Yep.
like I like the entire movie. But when she comes in, it just kind of I don't know, it changes it a little bit because she knows
Yeah.
what she's talking about. She knows what has to be done, and she's just very blunt about everything. She's not trying to like make them feel better or whatever, and she does because she knows that Carol Ann is alive. But especially the scene where they're trying to get Carol Ann to talk, and she's not answering the mom. So she's like, "Who is she more threatened by, you or Steven?" And she's like, "Well, Steven decides the punishments," and he gets all offended, like whatever. But it is. It's the dad that's always like the kids don't want to like, even if he's not abusive, he's a loving father, but like you don't want to piss off your dad. So it's like he has to get involved, and she knows it. And I just love that you just had somebody else in the mix who had such a personality and such a aura about her, despite her short size, which I think added to it because she was a bigger than life person. But yeah, I just love it when she comes in and then everything just starts to click. But that's what's great about the Steven Spielberg ending is this house is clean and she's living it up for the camera, but then it's not. And that's like the best fake out for me. It was just like, wait,
Yeah.
why isn't this movie ending? Like they're moving, things are getting, they're fine, and then it's just downhill
Yep.
from there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I love that character too.
yeah.
And for me, it's another injection of, because the movie is kind of a California movie.
Yeah.
The everything about it screams California. And then she comes in and it's like just a little bit of the South coming in.
Yep.
It's like, oh, you guys have had to deal with ghosts and spirits and stuff.
Yeah.
That's stuff that we know about. Like you guys in Silicon Valley are not going to be able to handle this. We need somebody who knows what ghosts are and probably have some in their family, that they talk to regularly. So.
It's you guys kind of got me thinking about like in sports, there's like a whole debate about like people who are super metric focused and then people who are just based on like pure vibes and like gut feeling. Right. Yeah. Like, so they fail at first with the literal academics. They go to the local university to find academics to help them out. And they're so over their head. They got to go and get Tangina, like someone who's just vibes based. Like she just feels it in her gut. Like she just knows it. Like, get out of here, nerds, with all your fancy equipment and your data and your stats and all that stuff. Get out of here. We're just going to go off pure vibes. That's how you have to deal with ghosts.
And she was right. Like she knew what to do to get her back. And it wasn't it scared the crap out of them because it was very dangerous, but it worked.
Yep. And I love that she also knows her limitations. Yeah. She's like, all right, I'm going to go in after her. And the mom's like, no, Diane's like, oh no, I'm going to do it. And she says, you've never done this before. You never have either. And she's like you're right. You go.
Yeah. It's also one of my favorite parts. Like,
just watching that expression go over.
Yeah, just like she kind of paused for a minute. I was like, oh yeah, like I haven't. Like, and she had a good point. She's not going to come to her. She doesn't know this woman. Like, so it had to be the mom. It just had to be her to go in there and get her out. But I also like Steven's skepticism too of her. From the very beginning, he's amused by what they think she can do and trying to answer her with his mind and, kind of, making a little fun of it. But at the same time, I'm like, you've seen everything happening in your house. your daughter is missing in the television somewhere, it's so hard for you to broaden your mind a little bit more and accept the fact that this woman might actually be able to communicate or sense this thing that has your daughter, and you're like kind of tongue in cheek making fun of her for it. But you know, she shut him down pretty quick, so that was fun. But yeah, she's I forgot how late it was in the movie until she comes in. It's almost like she's only on screen for what, maybe 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she's the one that she's one I remembered from when I was a kid was Tangina.
Yeah.
So she's great. And I think she's in the third one too. I haven't seen the third one since I was like a teenager, but I'm pretty sure she's in that one too, even if it's briefly. But yeah, she's
I
great.
haven't seen either of the sequels, but so I have two more kind of big questions, and then I'm sure we'll make other sort of stops along along the way as we get there. But I want to get the bad one out of the way first, and
Oh
then we
no.
can end on a better note. So after we save Carol Ann and we think that everything is resolved, there's then that final scene where shit really hits the fan and Diane is thrown into the pool with all the skeletons, real life skeletons, which some people attribute to being part of the alleged curse around this movie.
Right.
A lot of like really sad stuff happened
Yeah.
around the production here and like with people involved. Do you guys believe that that curse is real or just like really unfortunate sort of circumstances and like coincidences? Do we think that the skeletons had anything to do with it? Do we think that there were other things that maybe cursed this production? Do you think the alleged curse is like part of what adds to the sort of like myth of this movie and like its legendary status? I know that's a lot of questions, but what do you guys think about the curse?
You go first, Bob.
Well, I just don't. I don't think there are enough. There are other movies that have way more things that have racked up that could say this is a cursed movie. Can I think of any of them at the moment? No, I cannot.
The
We spoke
Exorcist.
But
about one earlier this
well, The
season.
Exorcist, yeah,
Yeah.
The Wizard
and
of Oz
Wizard of
Oz.
Oz.
had some messed up stuff going on around
That's
that.
true. That's
But yeah,
true. But this one has, it has the skeletons, which just they were just cheaper
To
to
get
to
real
use
ones. Yeah.
at the time. And specifically, it's the death of Dominique Dunn,
Yeah.
who unfortunately was murdered by her ex-boyfriend
Ex-boyfriend.
the same year that this movie was
It
released.
makes me so angry.
And that's really the worst. And of course, the actress who played Carol Ann,
Yeah.
Heather O'Rourke, had a undiagnosed intestinal ailment
Bowel
that
blockage.
caused her life,
Yeah.
to be cut short during the filming of the second
Yeah.
movie. But I think stuff like that just happens in films. You've got literally hundreds of people working on movies.
Yeah.
And like some of the stuff that's attributed to this film, there was, I can't remember if it was one of the screenwriters or a cinematographer or whatever. He died in a car accident, but it was like 2009 or 2007, something
Yeah.
like that. And I don't see how you can, and of course
Attribute
you'd
that
have
to
to
a
believe in
curse. Yeah.
curses to begin with. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. 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 I think with this, it was just bad luck. It was just, I don't think this, I don't want to say I don't believe in curses because I think bad shit can happen if you do bad shit. But I don't
the
know that
Cubs
this,
were
Gotta hedge your
cursed.
bets.
it is true.
That's a real curse.
Yeah. I believe that. But the curse was lifted. They won their World Series, so they're okay.
Yeah.
But I don't know that the movie specifically really it didn't cause any of it to happen. Nobody died on set. You know what I mean? It wasn't like the Twilight Zone movie where the actor and the two kids were killed and
Right.
they kept going. But no, I just think with Dominic Dunn and Heather O'Rourke passing away, I mean, that's just tragic more than anything. It was a medical diagnosis, a misdiagnosis, which is one of the things anytime one of my girls got sick as a kid, my dad would be like, make sure it's not a bowel blockage. That's what killed Heather O'Rourke. And I'm like, I know,
Right.
like she'll be all right. Like it's okay. Don't worry about it. But yeah, that, and it's just women are killed a lot by their ex-partners. So it's not like it was not a, it's a statistic that's out there. It's sad, and it was really
Yeah.
tragic when it happened. So, and I read her brother's book, Griffin, or maybe it was her father's book, Dominic Dunn, who's the
I think it was her brother.
Vanity
Yeah.
Fair. I think it was Vanity Fair he wrote for a lot. He wrote a book about his daughter and her death and the trial and everything. And it's, if you ever, not that it's one of my recommendations, but if you ever see it out there, it's a really interesting read. So,
Okay.
yeah, it's really sad what happened. I don't know. And Zelda Rubinstein, she lived for a while too after that movie. So it
Oh
wasn't.
yeah.
I just think for those two people, it was a tragedy. Both were tragedies, and it's really unfortunate. But no, I don't think that there's a curse on this particular movie, personally.
Very, yeah, extremely tragic. Very unfortunate that like it happened at all,
At
or
all,
like,
Yeah.
yeah,
but then also around this movie, and then like also to like trivialize like someone's murder as just like being
as
part
a
of like a
curse.
curse because
Yeah,
Right.
you use
Yeah.
skeletons
exactly.
on like a film set also
Yeah,
feels kind of icky for us to do. So
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
um you know don't I don't we don't think that there's a curse around this movie, but
Mm-mm.
it is also important to like stop and like acknowledge these things because it is part of the sort of like lore around
Right.
this movie.
Yeah.
So that's, I wanted to ask that question before the final question because it would have felt really weird. And
And on a bummer.
yeah, to end on that like
A
super
bummer
Yeah.
bummer
guy.
note. So instead, what I will ask as sort of like last question, at least from my end around this movie, is I feel like something that doesn't fully get talked about, although we've touched on it a little bit here and there throughout the discussion, is the special effects in this movie and just like the technology of filmmaking that was used with the backing of Steven Spielberg's Amblin production company. Although I don't know if Amblin was around because that must have been post ET, and
Post ET. Yeah.
When was
came out
ET?
same year.
Was it
Yeah,
Yeah.
wild.
I think he couldn't direct this movie because he had a contract
1981?
that.
Amblin
Uh.
Entertainment. Hmm.
Yeah. So
Wow.
So
weird.
maybe while he was shooting ET, because this is, yeah, they're both 82.
Yeah.
Almost,
Yeah.
I mean, if you subscribe to the idea that Spielberg directed this almost as wild as his 1993, where he directed two of like the 15 best movies ever made.
God, I know.
Um,
I love
but
it. Take me back.
the question that I was asking about
Right.
this, yeah, the technology of like a lot of the stuff that goes on in this movie, what do you guys think was like the lasting impact on both the genre and just like movie making as a whole based on some of the like special effects and stuff that were used here?
Was I haven't actually done as much digging with the special effects of this as I would on other blockbusters. Weirdly, in part I think because it was Industrial Light and Magic did this,
Mhm.
and so for a lot of the films that I tend to pay attention to the special effects, like we were talking about American Werewolf in London, that was Rick Baker had done that. It's a single individual or an individual and his team, and then you do ILM, and it's hard to point and say who is responsible
Mhm.
for what and who did all of this. But I mean, from the Spielberg clouds, which we had first seen in Close Encounters of the Third Kind,
Yeah, the
to
sky.
yeah, and
Yeah,
the model
awesome.
work
Hmm.
and the miniatures, the not claymation, but the animated
Yeah,
stuff. It was all, they pulled out all the stops and tried
yeah.
every different thing, photo optical effects, which is probably repetitive to say photo optical, but uh, yeah, it was, they just, they made it like a blockbuster, and they're like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
we're gonna do all of the special effects we can think of, and it was fantastic.
Well,
Even the
yeah.
simple stuff of, all right, we're gonna put Zelda Rubinstein in front of a wind machine and a strobe light, and it's going to look freaking
It
amazing.
looks so good. I love that
Yeah.
shot when she goes in front of the closet. It's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when the I don't know what it was, but whatever it was, when the mom is trying to get into the kids' room after she gets out of the bath and she's thrown around in her bedroom, that big white demony thing that's outside of
Yes.
their room, that always used to give me nightmares. And then when the dad pulls out like that huge face and screams at him,
Yep.
that always like gave me nightmares too. But watching it now, like you see, when they open the door in the room, everything's flying around in the room, and it's just like, obviously the effects back then, not, they don't always hold up. Like you can see like the stop motion and everything, but at the same time, like I said, that thing outside the bedroom like growling at her, that still scared me even now. When she's on the ceiling, like that kind of practical stuff, it's so well done that I don't, it doesn't take me out of the movie the way some of the movies back then do, like when I watch them now, because the effects just aren't up to snuff anymore in my mind. But yeah,
Yeah.
they did a really good job, and a lot of it you didn't even need it. Like when she walks away from the table after she pushes the chairs in again, and then it's like one shot, and she comes back up, and they're all on top of each other. I'm just like, that's so cool. I just like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
That's a good
fun.
one.
Yeah.
I just tangentially related because it bugged my wife when we were watching it this time.
Yeah.
When that big head shows up and screams, Steve, let's go of the rope.
I know.
And she's like, you had one damn job.
You said don't let go.
You said you would never let go of the rope, and damn it.
That's why she's in there getting the kid and not him.
That's right.
Although I do have to say, watching it, there is that one shot that I can relate to so well, is when she finally gets out of the pool, because the neighbor and his wife pull her out. And of course, they don't want to go in and help, which at one hand, you're like, you pieces of, like, help her get her kids. But on the other hand, it's like, would you go in that house seeing everything that's happening? But when she runs back upstairs and like she's at the end of the hall, and the hall just expands and the door gets farther away from her. And
great shot.
It's so good because it's like that when
Yeah.
your kids are screaming and in danger, and it's not that far, but your mind is like, you're never gonna get there. Like you will just keep running down this hall forever. Like I totally understand that, like her point of view, and I just love how she looks at it, it expands, it's gone, it's way back there, and I'm like, yep, that's exactly how it is.
Yeah.
Thankfully, my kids are only screaming because there's a spider, but at the same time, my kids are being murdered.
But still,
oh my God.
You get that, gonna have that Hitchcock dolly zoom every time. So,
it's so good. And, being more into movies now in the last 10 years than I was, like, I loved watching movies as a kid, but I didn't watch them as like a movie fan as a kid. You know what I mean? Like I watched them because, oh, this is fun. The Goonies, like, yeah, it's adventure. But now watching it, I noticed that stuff a lot more, and it makes you appreciate the movie making aspect of all of it like a lot. And that's why I appreciate this movie so much more, because I'm like, man, they really did go all out to make this a great movie, and it's not just a haunted house horror film that is a throwaway like so many of them are. So it's so good. I love it.
A very deep family drama. Although I do love the idea of watching movies with like us like snap and finger guns, just like, hey,
and then you forget about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a fun 2 hours.
Yeah. Sometimes I wish I could watch movies more like that, instead of like thinking that is some sort of meaning behind the neighbors not going and helping her out of the pool. That is a commentary about how much more like individualized and selfish we were getting as a society in the Reagan 80s. Like, why can't I just like, hey, movie time, Poltergeist,
If you Toby Hooper would be like, just no, there's no meaning behind that, right? Just he's a dick. Like he wasn't gonna,
there's nothing there.
They established that at the beginning of the movie. Like he's a jerk.
Yeah. I mean, same thing, man. We were losing our sense of community and neighborly love and all of those.
Oh God, yeah.
So
two more things for me.
The house collapsing in on itself at the end, which is fantastic effect even now.
Yeah.
So that's like relating to real estate values collapsing in the early?
Yeah, it's predicting the 2008 financial bubble and how it
Yeah, there you
collapsed in
go.
on
This
itself.
movie was ahead of its time.
Yeah.
This is the precursor to The Big Short.
The Big Short,
A
yeah.
literal money sink. Yeah, I
A
can
money,
see that. All right.
the money pit. Yeah.
Two more things for me before we end. One, screw that tree, and two, screw that clown.
That clown is the reason my sister has a clown phobia, and I'm not kidding.
Oh my god.
My older sister, like, even though I would take screenshots of the TV as we're watching it and send them to her, and she's like,
That's so
No.
mean.
she can't do it. And that clown, I saw the clown in the, I saw what the clown looked like in the remake. Still not half as scary as the clown in this movie. I don't know why they kept that clown in that bedroom, why it had to face that kid's bed. As soon as I heard that thing rustling under the bed at the end, I was like, but the tree also really freaked me out. I always found the tornado
I think
a
I'm more
little
scared
strange.
of trees than I
Yeah.
am of clowns.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
the tree's coming in to eat you. Like, the clown's just going to strangle you to death. Like, whatever. But the tree's going to freaking eat you. That's terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
I
tree
guess I never-
That
scared
poor
the
kid's
crap.
gone through a lot. Like, Caroline got sucked into the TV, but that poor kid, he almost got eaten by a tree. He almost got killed by a clown. Like, come on.
Yeah.
I don't even remember his name, but I feel bad for him.
Growing up, I never had clowns in my bedroom, but
No,
there was
me neither.
always a tree outside of my bedroom.
Mhm.
So I think that's why trees more scary than clowns.
And it was
For
so
me, at least.
bizarre looking, too. It was just like big stumps and, ugh.
I'm not
Yeah.
sure why they left it there. It looked like it was dead.
Yeah, it
To
did
me,
look
but
bad. And then the tornado
zombie
came out
tree,
of nowhere and
yeah.
grabbed it, took it.
Yep.
I don't
The
know.
doll never, I mean, the clown doll, clowns don't bother me, and dolls, I never found them scary. Like, it took me a while to get into Chucky, because I was like, I just don't find any of this.
I mean,
frightening,
Chucky's
but-
also, well, I don't know about the first one anymore. I haven't seen it forever, but that's also kind of like a comedy, horror comedy a little
Right.
bit. Yeah. I mean,
Bob,
it's
that's a
doll.
very nice life that you're living. Not being afraid of
I'm not
clowns
scared
or
of
dolls.
dolls or clowns. Or
But that
A
means
lot
that
of
there's a
people
whole,
envy you.
there's a whole swath of horror movies that I'm like, you know? So I don't get to enjoy that facade of horror from
Right.
Clown in a Cornfield or whatever, you know. So
I think that's better than people who literally can't watch those horror movies because they are so terrified of
I mean, I
That's
clowns
don't
or
like shark
dolls.
movies anymore. If there's a shark
Yep.
in a movie, I'm not watching it. Like, Jaws was it for me. That's it.
Yeah.
You know, I get the whole, no, sharks don't bother you if you don't bother. No. Did you
They're
see
terrifying.
Jaws? I am not ever going to watch a movie with a shark in it again. I'm sorry. No, it's not going to happen. Nope.
we
82
have
kind
we
of
have
sacked you.
great white shark watches off the coast of Maine now, which
No,
we
thank
never
you.
had when I was younger. So
Yep. If I see a
Sorry,
shadow
random.
in the ocean, I'm not going to. I don't care
Yeah.
what it is. I don't care if it's seaweed, algae. I don't care. If there's a shadow, I'm not going near it. Not happening. Nope. Ugh.
Wow, there are 5 movies in the canon from 1982. This is
It's a great
holy
year.
crap, it
A
was a
s-
great year.
a stacked year.
So,
Yep.
are you allowed to tell us what it is, or have we not?
I think we've done most of them. Blade Runner, The Thing,
Mm.
Yep.
E.T.,
Yes.
Poltergeist,
Mhm.
and First Blood. And
Oh,
Oh
of
wow.
those, E.T. is the only one that we have not yet had an episode on. So
so good.
I
there
don't
you
think
go.
the write-up's been done yet. Has it?
I don't
I
know.
don't think
I mean,
so.
Yeah.
that's surprising. I feel like
It'll be
that's
coming out next year.
I feel like we are, as a website, we are children of the 80s. Even
are.
Duke, who is like,
He's a baby.
he's a baby. I was so surprised when he told me how old he was, because I was like, dude,
Yeah.
all of you like,
It's like,
you
you're a
only
fetus.
like movies from
What
the
are you
80s.
talking
Like, how are you not?
Right.
How are you only
about? I mean, his
25?
favorite movie is Back to the Future. Wasn't
Yeah.
that 80? Was that 80? When was that?
85.
85?
Yeah, I think. Yeah. He's.
Yeah.
I mean, he's like,
That's crazy.
he's Mr. Amblin.
Oh my God, this movie too, the product placement in this movie. I was like, if this movie was made today and had as much product placement as this movie does, people would be like, oh, this is a little much. You know, there's Star Wars everywhere. There's
Oh,
Rubik's
Star
cubes.
Wars?
There's
Yeah. The kid's bed was all Star Wars and he had
yeah,
the
yeah.
Yeah.
posters but I mean, Steven Spielberg.
But that's what it was.
Yeah.
That, you know,
Yeah.
when
Is
you were
there
a kid
Indiana
in the
Jones
80s.
poster in this,
No,
or
because he
just
was
Star
just
Wars?
finishing. I think he was just
Okay.
finishing
Yeah.
Indiana Jones when
Yeah.
this started. So
And that's what I
I
love
love
about like
when
Stranger Things too, because they have this like one of the kids had a Dark Crystal poster in his room, and my husband loves that
yeah.
movie, and he's like, "Oh, he's got Dark Crystal," but it's like 80s, so it's like for me, I'm like, I remember that, I remember that, I remember that. Like it's so fun. It's just the nostalgia of it, and that's why I like the movies they make today, like Poltergeist being like the TV and the static, and it's like any horror movies today that take place in the 80s, I'm gonna watch it because I'm just like it's so hard to do I mean, not that hard. It's really hard to do a good horror movie set in the present time because everything's phones now, and it's like, oh, my phone doesn't have signal. I hate that. So it's just like, come on. Like, and of course, your phone doesn't have signal. Okay, whatever. So it's just like I want to see more of that. So if you're going to take it back to the days of rotary phones and static TV, I'll watch it. Yeah.
that's how filmmakers, if you want to get Ramona in, make a spooky movie set
80s
in the
that
Watch
up.
a
80s.
movie. I want a spooky 80s movie.
80s that bad boy up.
Yes.
Amazing. Well, I feel like we've covered everything and a little bit more on Poltergeist. Any final thoughts or anything about about this flick?
Yeah.
Bob, do you have your list of factoids for us?
I
and
don't.
random notes?
We went over so much
Skeletons.
already.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I did like that. This is not a thing, but it's just the emotionality of the film actually works. Like I
Yes.
believe in
Mhm.
these relationships.
Yeah.
Like there was that moment towards the end, and I can't remember exactly where it was, but Diane and Steve are outside, and they just simply mouth "I love you" to each other. And I
Yeah.
totally freaking believed that moment. And I was like, oh,
Mhm.
this is a
Yeah.
weirdly emotional moment that I didn't
Yeah.
expect to have in this
Yeah.
blockbuster horror movie. Um,
Yeah, it's
I
also
don't
cool that
have,
it's mostly like non-big name stars, you know? I
Yeah.
feel like that
yeah,
kind of adds to the feeling that like you fully feel like they are
A
an actual
family.
family unit and you're never taken out by like, oh, that's Richard Dreyfuss or whatever, you know?
right. Yeah.
Eaten up.
Yeah, I feel like that goes to that like that emotionality that you're talking about, or at least I felt like it did.
Yeah.
Um yeah, great movie. Very happy that it's in the canon. You
I
got one more
Was
thing,
do
Bob?
just
the
one more.
score? This
Oh, the
was Jerry
score.
Goldsmith's first collaboration with Steven Spielberg.
So creepy.
So
The little
yeah,
kid choir. Man, that still
and
gets
this is
me.
one of those things that leads you tilts things towards the Steven Spielberg thing, because of course Jerry
Mm-hmm.
Goldsmith and Steven
Yeah.
Spielberg did a ton
Yeah.
of stuff together, and Goldsmith says that he never really even talked to Hooper, like, because he could have musical conversations with Spielberg. They would talk
Yeah.
the same language about it.
Mm-hmm.
So all of this stuff that was about music cues and what kind of music and what tone and all of that stuff came to him from
It
Spielberg. So
was good. It's a great score.
it is.
I loved it. I do want one more shout out to one of my favorite parts of the movie when the parapsychologist is talking to Diane and the son in the middle of the night, and they're whispering. You know, everyone's
Yeah.
awake, but they're still whispering about what happens when you die, and you know what could possibly happen. And I noticed, and I don't know if I don't think I ever noticed it before, that the little boy was the one who said, "If I died, you could put a rope around me, and I could go get Carol Ann and bring
Yeah.
her back." And I was like, that's exactly what they do, is they put a rope around the mom and then she goes and brings her back. But he's just
Yeah.
talking. And of course he's like, oh, well, if I die, can I go get her? Which to me is like a little heartbreaking that her brother is like, oh, I could get hit by a bus and die. And then I could go save my sister. Like, but it's just just a middle of the night
Yeah.
whispering conversation, but it's also really deep and profound and made me a little sad to listen to. But that's also like, to me, that was a very Steven Spielberg-y thing too. It's just kind of having that like family dynamic moment
Yeah.
before she's like, okay, go to bed, like go to sleep. And that they sent the kids away. Thank you for that. Instead of trying to keep
Yeah.
the kids in the house with you, send the son off to the grandma and the daughter off to a friend and the dog. That poor dog. So
If
yeah.
it were a Steven Spielberg movie, it would have been more about how much of a shithead dad Steve was, or how much like
Diane would have been a single mom.
his active, failings were the reason for the family. He's more like kind of just like a background fool, and it's not like, other Steven Spielberg movies where it's like, I hate my dad, just kind of like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, my dad's cool, and he's just kind of there. So that's
I'm like
my last thought about
trying
the
to think of the
Spielberg.
dads in those movies. Yeah.
Oh, it's a thing
It is a thing.
until like the 90s, when he like reconciles his relationship with his father, and then like everything after is that like is like, oh, maybe my dad wasn't so bad. It's, I mean, and then you watch The Fabelmans and you're like, oh, this explains the last 50 years of his filmmaking career.
Right.
This explains everything. Yeah. So I guess with that, we can jump into some recommendations. What do you guys say?
Sure.
Let's do it.
We've got three things to recommend. We all have one movie at least, and we have two other things that might also be movies or anything else. And we can't recommend like E.T. or anything else in the canon.
I've been trying really hard to make sure that my picks aren't, because I seem to always pick something that's already in the canon, and then I screw myself. So I'm trying really hard not to.
I feel like you also always have a recommendation that is like somebody else has. Yeah.
I go first all the time. So
yes. So yeah, we'll let you go first again, and then Bob, and then I'll go.
I worked hard to make sure it was something random. I do have a question about one of my choices, whether it counts as a movie or not. So we'll see.
Ooh. Fun. All right, let's get into it.
So my first pick, I actually watched this again today, and it always used to scare the shit out of me when I was a kid. So I was like, I'm going to watch it again and see if it holds up, which it does. My first pick is, I'm going with the haunted house motif, except now it's a haunted mansion, and I'm going to do The Changeling from 1980.
Oh, yeah.
Scott, where he...
Absolutely. What a classic.
Beginning of the movie, he loses his wife and daughter in a tragic car accident, and then he moves to Seattle and moves into a decrepit, abandoned mansion for some reason. But anyway, he begins to believe that the mansion is haunted, and he starts to unravel the truth behind the death of a little boy inside the mansion. And it's creepy. It really does hold up really well. The acting and the scares, and man, I really enjoyed it again. I watched it when I was a kid, and it terrified me, so I wasn't sure it would hold up as an adult, but it really does. So if you're into mysteries and a scary, huge mansion, I would definitely recommend. Plus, George C. Scott is just amazing.
George C. Scott, yeah.
I mean, God, he's so good. So yeah,
he's so good.
I would recommend that. The Changeling.
Nice. Yeah. I haven't seen it.
Fantastic.
You should. It's really good.
It's fantastic. It's a really good haunted house.
Yeah.
My ever growing watch list from doing this show. Yeah. But then I continue to do the show, so I never have time to watch the movies on the ever growing watch list. It's just like, let me just rewatch Poltergeist.
We give you a little bit of a break. You get a little bit of a break in between seasons.
Yeah.
Like 3 weeks or whatever.
Yeah, I gotta do my homework, but another great movie to add to the list.
Yep. I gotta check that out. All right, so I think that this counts as a movie. This first one that I'm going to talk. It was broadcast as a special event on the BBC in 1992. It's only ever been released as a single film, and only released relatively recently because it was banned by the BBC after it was first broadcast, because people were so upset and scared and freaked out by it. At least one death was attributed to somebody getting so freaked out by the broadcast. They did it as if they were doing a special Halloween event where they sent reporters out to the field to investigate a real haunted house.
Oh no.
And they actually got people who were broadcasters at the BBC at the time. Like one of them was one of their major broadcasters and regular reporters and stuff. And as the thing goes, it becomes very apparent that not only is the house that they're investigating haunted, but that the haunting is starting to spread because of so many people watching that it's essentially functioning like a mass seance.
Oh my God.
It's fantastic. It's creepy. It's a perfect Halloween starter sort of film. It's called Ghost Watch. It's available from 101 Films now. Here's the special
Nice.
edition box set. For a long time, you couldn't get it
banned,
because
huh?
it was banned. Yeah,
Wow.
actually. So it won't live up to the banned by the BBC sort of thing, but it is still a nicely creepy, well done sort of found footage horror
Wow.
movie.
Ooh.
Nice. I
I'll look into
mean,
that one.
you're scaring the crap out of me right now.
Yeah.
I
There's
know,
also
sorry.
like kind of a storm happening outside, and like I heard like
Right.
a big gust of wind like hit a tree outside like while you were
Oh,
talking about
no.
this.
I'm
So
telling you, man.
yeah. Ooh.
Just inviting this stuff in.
Gonna be a long night.
Yeah. On my TV here in a minute.
Damn it, Bob. I think it does count as a movie, so we'll take
I
it.
would
That
say so.
sounds yeah, that sounds amazing.
Yeah.
For my first recommendation, am going to recommend something that I watched right after my rewatch of Poltergeist that is also about the horrors of suburbia and suburban America. It's a more recent movie, though, a movie that got a lot of buzz this year. I'm happy that I finally got to watch it. It felt like the perfect time to finally watch it. I'm recommending Weapons.
That's what I
I
was
dug it.
hoping.
So good.
Nice.
Yeah.
So good.
Very fun watch. I already
What?
can't wait to rewatch it.
Yeah.
I feel like we're in like another horror renaissance. The last couple of years have just
Man,
been
there's been some good stuff.
banger after banger. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very fun. It's
Oh my
funny
God.
that the whitest kid or one of the whitest kids uh is like now like a horror guru. Like two of the best horror auteurs of our time are Jordan Peele and Zach Kreger,
Jack
who are
Kreger,
dudes
yeah.
from sketch comedy troops. Like
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, good. God,
so
All
weird.
comedy
But
comes
yeah,
from a dark place.
man.
Weapons.
That's a good one.
Very
That's
fun.
Yeah. Awesome.
Man, I should have went with Good Dog, but that just came out, and I don't.
Yeah.
It's a haunting.
I haven't seen it yet, but that's on the list.
Devastation.
There is a
Anyway,
dog in Poltergeist.
there is.
There's
Not as
Z-Bug.
cute, but it was a good. That dog actually is pretty chill in this movie in Poltergeist. That dog's kind of like
Playing fetch with the ghost.
playing fetch with the ghost, going and getting chips out of the kid's bed.
Yeah.
Like, I do love when the boy's leaving though in the taxi and the dog's like, "I'm out, peace." He's just
Yeah.
like, "See ya."
Yep.
He's like, "I'm going to grandma's." But yeah, anyway, I could get on a tangent about that. Okay, so my second one, you guys are like doing like, oh, suburbia and deep themes, and I'm like, here's my haunted house pick. I am going with a TV series. It's probably one of the best TV series I've seen my entire life, and it is The Haunting of Hill House from Netflix.
Yeah.
This TV show, I've watched it through a couple times, and I'm still finding stuff about it that I didn't notice before, that I didn't see before, hear before. But it's that modern reimagining of Shirley Jackson's The Haunting of Hill House, where it's 5 siblings and it's kind of 2 timelines when they lived in Hill House, and then as adults, how they're dealing with the events that led them to flee the house. Mike Flanagan is quickly becoming one of my very favorite directors in the genre. He's just so good. I can't say, I don't want to spoil the show, but it's just fantastic. It's creepy. All of the performances are amazing. And it's just, every time I finish it, like, I just feel like my soul has left my body. And I'm like, okay, give it some time to recover and I'll be watching it again. So I definitely, and actually The Haunting of Hill House as a book would be a good recommendation too. It's one of the only books that genuinely scared me. And I didn't think that it would, like, when I was reading, I was like, this isn't that scary. But by the end, I was like, oh my God. Like, I was scared. I was like, sleep with the light on in my closet. It was, yeah. So book and the TV show are just, both of them are fantastic. Mike Flanagan can do no wrong in my eyes so far. So that's my second recommendation.
Absolutely fantastic choice. Yeah,
So good.
that's a good series.
Yeah.
I still haven't watched it. Everyone loves
Midnight
it.
Mass, also very good. Completely different
Yeah.
kind of movie, but
Which one?
series. Midnight Mass. It's another
Oh,
Mike
Midnight
Flanagan.
Mass, fantastic. Blind
Yep.
Manor was fantastic. I just finished Fall of the House of Usher. Dark as hell, but really good.
I feel like Val is very high on Haunting of Hill House and Midnight
Yes,
Mass. And I think
both of them.
Haunting of Hill House is in her TV to Scream for this month.
Oh,
Oh,
that's right.
100%.
So
100%.
yeah, love it.
Oh,
Great
so good.
recommendation. Maybe
Yeah.
Yeah.
maybe I will watch it before Halloween. Tis
You
the
got a couple
season.
weeks. Tis the
Tis
season.
the
Do it.
season.
Yes.
And
Binge it.
I'll hit it with some finger guns.
Yeah.
No, this is not a finger gun TV show. This is a.
I gotta lock in.
There's no
I-
words.
I'm ready. I'm ready for it.
Devastation again. I'm so tired of shows and TV, like movies, just destroying me emotionally. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
So I'm going to stray off the path a bit here and not be as I don't know, not going to take it as serious. I'm actually going to recommend a particular section, a particular story in a animated TV show from 1990, the very first episode of The Simpsons Treehouse of Horror was called Bad Dream House. It was the second segment
One of
in
my
which
favorites.
the Simpsons, it's so good. Simpsons buy a haunted house for cheap, only to discover that it's, full of horrible haunting. The walls drip with blood. Turns out that there's actual Indian graveyard in the basement.
Yep.
My favorite part of the whole thing is when Homer calls the realtor and has the conversation about, you never told us there was a Indian graveyard in the basement. Well, that's not my recollection. Well, okay, goodbye. He says he mentioned it 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
I just love that bit. So
good.
yeah, and then the house basically chooses at the end of it. It's like either I have to live with the Simpsons or destroy myself and watch it to find out which choice it makes.
It's
But
so
yeah,
good.
so this is actually not the DVD
nice.
that has that episode on it, but it's the only one that I actually happen to have. So
those early Treehouse of Horrors were just amazing.
Fantastic.
Amazing.
So
I actually
good.
might have to watch some of that. That might
Yeah.
be
Really
that might
easy.
be how I unwind tonight. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That same episode has James Earl Jones narrating The Raven.
And it's
yeah.
That's my
So good.
all-time favorite Treehouse of Horror sequence is The Raven.
Oh man.
So good. I love it.
I love that.
Choice.
Great recommendation.
Yeah.
Awesome. I'm going to recommend a movie, and I'm stuck between 3 movies, but 2 of them I haven't seen, so I don't really want to recommend those. And the third one I'm pretty sure is not in the canon, but I'm going to recommend another movie from the 80s about a haunted house that is rated PG and probably should not be rated PG. One of my favorite rewatches every October or every other October because it's spooky and it's funny, but it's not that spooky. I'm recommending Beetlejuice.
Yeah. Nice.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I love the
Alec
feel
Baldwin
of
is decapitated at one point and
that.
definitely says shit and maybe bitch at some point. And I was like, how the hell is this PG? This is crazy. The 80s were wild.
It wasn't quite R and it wasn't quite G. And they're like, We just rewatched that before the new one came out. We watched Beetlejuice. And I was shocked at how little Beetlejuice is actually in that movie.
Yeah.
It's Alec Baldwin and Gina Davis's movie. But you hear Beetlejuice, you think Michael Keaton. But I was like, he's really not in it all that much.
Yep.
But it's a great movie.
And another coincidence, because of course Winona Ryder in the Stranger Things you were talking about earlier.
Yep.
Mm.
And Catherine O'Hara, who is she's one of my favorites. Her clothes a lot in Schitt's Creek, if you've watched Schitt's Creek, is very reminiscent of her character in Beetlejuice with just the stripes and the extravagance, and it's very similar and it's so good. Yeah, it's a great
I
movie.
keep feeling like we're gonna watch Raph just like get snatched out of
He's
the
just gonna
screen.
it's gonna go static. Like his camera will just static out.
Don't say that, guys. You're making it so much worse.
Oh, no. You're safe as long as you're on screen with us.
let's
Yeah.
let's let's power through the rest of these
Yeah,
recommendations
okay.
so I can get to safety.
No trees coming through your window.
Yeah,
I guess I
hopefully
should
not.
have my okay. So my last recommendation is it's not, it's pretty typical. I just watched this a couple weeks or a month or so ago with my daughter for the first time because we were going to see the new one in the theater, and it is The Conjuring, which is still probably the best movie in my opinion of that whole universe. The second one comes very close, but the first one is just everything about it to me is terrifying, with the farmhouse and the family and the haunting and the way it builds up the suspense to the possession at the end is just I just have a soft spot for those the families that move into a house and don't know what they're getting into. The dad's always leaving for work. Oh, I'm going to be gone for a week. And then that's when the shit happens. Like you said, dad goes to work and that's when the shit happens and the mom has to deal with it. So,
Yep.
but again, that's when like that movie was really focused on the family. I know Ed and Lorraine are like the big stars of it, but the movie is really about that family. So it's just very scary. Still had me jumping a couple times. And
Nice.
I just think it's a great kind of double feature to watch with Poltergeist if you want creepy hauntings where little girls are getting terrified and
Yeah,
like
thrown around the room.
I have not seen it, and that is not something that I will be adding to my watch list. I
Yeah,
am
it scared me. So yeah,
it's
yeah,
good. I enjoyed it.
very very good.
haunted houses, and when you like inject, there's a lot of like Catholicism, right? Like a lot of Catholic imagery in that.
Religion.
Yeah, all
Um,
that stuff.
I mean a little bit. The family in the first Conjuring, the family is not religious at all, which is why like the Catholic Church is very reluctant to help them.
Mm,
And why Ed ends up doing the exorcism on his own because it's too late to get the Catholic Church involved. But yeah, I mean, Ed and Lorraine are Catholic, so there's like that part
yeah,
of it. But they don't. It's not preachy or anything, so it's just kind of like
something about Catholic imagery and
scary.
in scary movies.
One means religion. Yeah, it's terrifying.
Yeah, exorcisms and haunted houses and all that stuff.
I
No,
No,
get it.
thank
give
you.
me give me Beetlejuice.
So
Yeah.
you've never seen The Omen.
Nope, The Conjuring
Okay,
sounds like a great movie.
it's
I
But you're
fantastic.
never gonna
You're never
yeah,
gonna
gonna
watch
see it.
it.
I
That's all right.
enjoy
That's
many of the talents involved. I wish them well, but nope,
No, sir.
okay.
Yeah.
I
no,
get it.
thank you. But great recommendation.
Thanks. Don't listen to him, guys. Watch it.
It was good. My final recommendation is even further off the beaten path. In fact, I'm only choosing it because it has a reference to poltergeists in it and a representation of poltergeists in it. In the 1980s, there was a start of a movement in comic books towards more adult-oriented horror titles. And that started in part with Sandman, that was in the 90s, but it was
Yeah.
also started by the Swamp Thing, written by Alan Moore.
Mm-hmm.
And I started picking those up at the local comic book shop just when I was just a little guy. And they were still under the Comics Code Authority. And by the time that this particular comic came out, they had to stop being approved by the Comics Code Authority because they were too freaking scary.
Oh.
This particular comic features Swamp Thing having to journey to hell to retrieve the soul of the woman he loves because her body's been
Aw.
resurrected, but she's been damned to hell. So he joins forces
Okay.
with a demon and goes to hell and tears her out of there. It's Swamp Thing Annual number 2 from 1985. It's written by Alan Moore, drawn by Stephen Bissett and John Totalman. Art is magnificent. So much terror, so much detail. It's like if Goya had drawn a comic book.
Nice.
It's absolutely terrifying. Can't recommend it highly enough. Probably can't find the annual itself by itself, but it's been collected so many times that you could find Swamp Thing collections in almost any bookstore.
Nice.
Sounds right up my alley, to be honest with you. Going to hell to save your lady. I love it.
Yeah.
Bob, I also love that you had you brought props for all of your recommendations. You had
It's like, we're
something
doing
to follow.
visual stuff now. Come on.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Way to be
Physical
prepared.
media, man. Very important.
I just this is just, if you hadn't said Ghost Watch was okay, my other movie recommendation would have been a Tobe Hooper movie that probably could not have been done if he hadn't worked with Steven Spielberg. So
Nice.
Yeah.
I love it. I have no visual accompaniments for my final recommendation. But
pop it up there on the screen in editing.
Something that is not that scary, but also maybe could be scary depending on how you look at it. I'm going to recommend a book that I just started reading, and I was thinking about the book when I was watching Poltergeist, because obviously, like, a lot of the scares come from the corners that they cut in order to build up all of the real estate and develop all of the real estate in order to, like, sell houses to people so that they can participate in the American dream. And I just started this book that is kind of about how we can rethink about how it is that we build housing and stuff for people to live in and, participate in the American dream.
Okay.
I'm recommending Abundance by Ezra Klein and that other guy.
That other guy, he's a great author.
Yes, Derek Thompson. So, like, not really scary at all, not even really related to Poltergeist, but
is this fiction or nonfiction?
This is a nonfiction book.
Okay.
About
that's scary.
Like nonfiction
terrifies me.
Kind of like a political theory book about how we can create a more perfect society, and it involves building more stuff. They don't mention moving headstones from cemeteries and leaving the bodies, so I think that they are, like, generally against that idea. However, I haven't finished the book, so I can't confirm or deny at this point. They might end up advocating for that by the end of the book, but yeah, that's my final recommendation. It was either that or Ring, because it's also about TVs being scary, but I've never seen that, and even thinking about that movie is going to give me nightmares for the rest of the week. So
I love a sentence that's like, it was either Abundance by Klein and Thompson or The Ring. That's just awesome.
Both are scary.
Fantastic.
Both are cool, scary.
Yeah.
In different ways. Poltergeist is scary in its own ways. This has been so much fun. Thank you both again for joining. We're in the meat of it. We're in spooky season. What do you guys have going on the website to celebrate the season?
Oh God. Well, I mean, we did the write-ups I think it just dropped today. It was the 50 greatest horror sequels of all time, which I contributed a couple of those. 31 Days of Halloween, of 31 movies to watch. I also picked a few of those, and I am going to try and get up some horror romantic comedy reviews for the month to stick up in there. Awesome. I try to do those every October, and I really love them. And I really probably should have watched one today, but I ended up watching a lot of other non-romantic scary movies. So I'll get there. But yeah, that's about it so far.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm glad Romona mentioned that list, because I mention it every time. I think I've been on like 4 or 5 episodes over the course of this particular spooky season, and I'm like, I mention it every time. I actually talked Sailor out into removing one of the write-ups that I did.
Oh no!
So it's like, this movie is terrible and should not be in the greatest sequels list. And he's like, I agree. Can I remove it? Like, yes.
Okay, can you tell me which one it is?
It was Slumber Party Massacre 2.
Oh, never saw it.
Which I hate that movie so much. is a terrible, terrible movie and should not have been in the list. And
What did he
luckily,
replace it with?
Daughter of Dracula, which is actually a
Okay.
pretty decent sequel. So,
All right.
so I was glad to see that. But
I did
there's
watch.
that.
I did do a write up for Bride of Frankenstein, and I just
Nice.
watched it for the first time before I did the write up. And yeah, I was like, I'm
Ooh.
glad I watched it before I tried to say it was a great sequel when I hadn't even seen it
Yeah.
yet. But it's just the Bride of Frankenstein is such like an iconic character. Shockingly, she's not even in it all that long. She's in it
Less
at
than
the
3
end.
miness. Yeah.
I know. And I was like, give me more.
Kind of
So
like
yeah, but it was
Beetlejuice.
really good. I was really impressed with it. I liked it a lot. But I wanted more of the Bride of Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
you never see her again in any official Universal
No.
picture. So
And did
it's
you
one of my
know that
favorite movies of all time. So yeah.
my mind was blown because I'm watching it. I know I'm getting off on a tangent here, and you're about to get eaten off by a poltergeist through the TV or your computer. But Elsa Lancaster, the whole time, I'm like, she looks so familiar. And then I realized I had just watched the other day Mary Poppins, and she's Katie Nana at the beginning. I
Yeah.
had no idea. I was just
Yep.
like mind blown. I'm the only person at home. I'm like, no one's here to enjoy this with me, but it's fine. All right.
That's
We
the
should have
bride.
had you on our Bride of Frankenstein
Bride of
episode
Frankenstein
from
episode. Yeah.
last October, or
Well,
maybe
I
2
hadn't seen it
Octobers
yet,
ago.
but I
Yeah,
would.
I can't remember. Yeah.
It was good.
yeah.
I enjoyed it a
Um,
lot.
But now you can listen to that episode.
I will. I'm gonna go back and I have a lot saved that I need to listen to actually. A lot of them.
Hell yeah. And
Yeah.
listeners, you should all be like Ramona and go back and listen to all of those old saved episodes because there's a ton of good stuff. We've been doing spooky season October episodes for the last couple of years. You'll
Yeah.
hear a lot of Bob. You'll hear a lot of Ramona. There's a lot of good stuff. You might even hear more from both of them coming up. Although Bob, was there anything else coming up on the website that you wanted to?
No, I was just going to complain about all of the horrible sequels that I had to watch because I got the
Ooh.
list at the very end and it was Duke was just like, "Can you do all
Take
the
the
rest of these?"
Yeah. Everyone
I
has
was like,
claimed all the fun stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why
So
I'm
I
like,
get-
send it to me first. Let me have first choice, and I will pick 8 or 12.
Yep. So I've
And I'll see
seen
what I can
so
do.
many bad horror movies over the last week and a half or so.
Man,
Thank you. Thanks
what
for
we do for this website.
taking it for the
Yeah.
team. Yeah.
Yeah,
we appreciate it.
we do.
I mentioned last week that I would maybe do a movies to stream for
Yeah.
horror movies that came out this year.
Yeah.
There's not enough on the different platforms.
No.
There
Oh, no,
there
that's
are
too
a lot
bad.
of like fun horror movies, but like 3 of them are on HBO Max and like 3 of them are only available to rent on VOD and like
Right.
not actually streaming anywhere. So
Yeah.
I was
Don't
like,
get me started on
you
that.
know,
God.
so that won't be coming out. But what will be coming out, we got more episodes of the Canon. We got 2 more weeks of spooky movies. We're gonna be ending the month with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre for our 100th episode.
Crazy.
Wow. 100 movies.
episodes.
That's crazy.
And we have 100 plus more to do. But before we get to Texas Chainsaw, we will be back next week. I don't think we'll have Bob or Ramona on next week. I'm pretty sure it's
Nope.
Jacob and Val, but we're going to be talking The Witch, or as I
Yeah.
like to call it, The Vavitch.
Yes.
So please go watch The Vavitch if you haven't seen that yet, and join us next week for another amazing episode. You can catch us wherever it is that you're listening to us or watching us now. As always, we hope to see you there. And in the meantime, we will see you in what is an increasingly spooky wasteland. Bye, everyone.